All right, this is section 1.2 from the 6th grade book, reviewing exponents and powers. And this first chart we have here is just going to help us with that review. It wants us to write these repeating factors using an exponent and then define the value of that. So we can first use exponents. That doesn't take a whole lot to use exponents here. So we have the 4 being repeated twice. So that's 4 squared, 4 times 4. And 6 times 6 is 6 squared. And 10 times 10 times 10 is 10 to the 3rd power, or we could say 10 cubed. And then we have 100 cubed. And then we have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 3 to the 4th power. Again, you write the number that's being repeated as the bigger number, the base, what we call a base, and then the exponent tells you how many times it's being repeated. So being repeated 4 times. Here, the number 4 is being repeated 5 times. And here, the number 2 is being repeated 6 times, so 2 to the 6th. Now, to find the values of these, we just have to think of multiplication. 4 times 4 is 16. And 6 times 6 is 36. And 10 times 10 is 100, times another 10, just add another 0, is 1,000. And 100 times 100 times 100, you can see we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. It's going to be a 1 followed by 6 zeros, which is 1,000,000. We actually did the same thing we did in problem C. We had 3 zeros there, so it was 1,000 with 3 zeros. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So this is 9, and this is 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. So that's one way you could do it. And this is 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16, so 16 times 16 is 256. And 256 times 4 is 1,024. That one can take some time, obviously. I'm just going to go ahead and use the shortcut and just tell you. And then here we've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64. All right, so let's look at some vocabulary here. We have a power, which is a product of repeated factors. Factors are numbers that are just being multiplied to each other, and they're obviously being repeated. And then the base of a power is the repeated factor. We talked about how the base is the number that is being repeated. So in this case, the 2 in this last example. And then the exponent is the little tiny guy that's written up here off to the right that tells you how many times the base is used as a factor. So 2 was being repeated 6 times. And that's basically what this example showing you right here. The 3 is the base, the 4 in red right there is the exponent. The whole thing, 3 to the 4th, is called a power, and that means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Now, you heard me say squared and cubed when I was referring to the exponents. If we say 3 to the 2nd power, instead of saying the 2nd power or the second, we can actually abbreviate that and say squared. So to square a number means to times it by itself. 3 times 3 is obviously being repeated twice. And then 3 to the 3rd power, we could abbreviate that and say cubed. Okay, so 3 times 3 times 3 is 3 cubed, so if it's to the 3rd power. But if it's any other power, like 4, 5, or 6, we don't have any abbreviations for that. We just say to the 3rd, or to the 4th, to the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, whatever. So we don't have any abbreviations for this one. So let's look at a couple examples here where we have to write these as the product of, or write each product as a power. The 4 is, again, being repeated a number of times. It's being repeated 5 times, so this would be 4 to the 5th. And this would be 12 to the 3rd. It's being repeated 3 times. And then this next example has us actually evaluating what those are. So 7 squared is 7 times 7, which is 49. 5 to the 3rd is 5 times 5 times 5. Now 5 times 5 is 25. So like quarters, and if you had 5 more, so times by another 5, you get 125. And 3 to the 4th was one that we just looked at in our examples. That was 81, if you remember, from up above. And then 9 squared is 9 times 9, which is also 81. And that's because 3 to the 4th was 3 written out 4 times, and that was 9 times 9. And 9 squared is 9 times 9, which is also 81. All right, so now we're going to switch gears here, and we're going to talk about perfect squares. And the square of a whole number is a perfect square. So whole numbers, those are your counting numbers plus 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no negative numbers. Those are whole numbers. And so the square of a whole number is called a perfect square. So if I take 0 squared, that would be 0 times 0, which is 0, and 1 squared, which is 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 squared, 2 times 2 is 4. These numbers here, 0, 1, and 4, are called perfect squares. And this list can keep going. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. 5 squared would be 5 times 5, or 25. We've got 6 squared, which is 36. 7 squared, which is 49. 8 squared, which is 64. 9 squared, which is 81. 10 squared, which is 100. We can keep going. 11 squared is 121. And one more, 12 squared. And that is 12 times 12 is 144. And those are the first 12 perfect squares. Actually 13 if you count 0. So these numbers that I'm pointing at are the ones that are actually called perfect squares. So this next example says determine whether each number is a perfect square. Well, 64, yep, that was on the list. That was 8 times 8, right? So that one is a perfect square. So yes, it is. And it was 8 squared. 20 was not on the list. We went from 16 to 25, so this one's not a perfect square. 88 is not on the list. We went from 81 to 100. And 9 is on the list. It was 3 squared. All right, this next example says a Monopoly game board is a square with a side length of 20 inches. What is the area of the game board? Well, obviously it's a square, which is a rectangle still, but we do length times width. But in a square, the length and the width are the same. So doing 20 times 20 is the same as doing 20 squared. Which is, by the way, why we use the abbreviation squared in the first place. Is because we're finding the area of a square with a side length of 20. So 20 squared is 20 times 20, which is 400. And this would be inches squared. Square inches, 400 squares. There's 400 little square inches that you could fit on this Monopoly board. And because I just squared a whole number, 20, which we just squared, that would make 400 a perfect square. All right, so now that we've talked about squaring a number, we can talk about square rooting a number. And the square root of a number is a number that, when multiplied by itself, equals the given number. So what number, when I square it, gives me that number? For example, what number, when I square it, gives me 400? Well, we just did in the last example, it was 20. So the square root symbol, which looks like this, by the way, almost like a check mark in a division box merged together, the square root of 400, we would say, is 20. It doesn't mean to divide it by 2 or anything else. It means what number, when I multiply it by itself, what number, when I square it, gives me 400, and we know it's 20 times 20. So 20 is the square root of 400. The square root of a perfect square, remember we talked about perfect squares, is always going to be a whole number. That's why we call them perfect squares, by the way, is because when we square root them, we get nice answers. These examples are all perfect squares. They were all in that list of perfect squares we wrote out. It says find the square root of 100. Well, what number did I square to get 100? It was 10. It was 10 squared. What number did I times by itself to get 4? It was 2. And what number squared gave us 36? It was 6. Now, if you try to find the square root of a number that's not a perfect square, like 100 or 4 or 36, then you're going to get a long decimal that goes on forever, doesn't have any pattern to it at all, and we call those irrational numbers, and we'll talk more about those later. An example of an irrational number would be a number like pi that goes on forever, has no pattern to it. All right, so this last example says you are putting up a fence around your square garden. The garden has an area of 121 square yards. The fencing costs $5 per yard. How much will it cost you to fence in your garden? So it says our garden is a square garden, and that's important for us in this problem. So imagine having a square garden, and we know the area is 121 square yards. So we're going to have to ask ourselves what number, because to find the area of a square, you're timesing the length by the width, but in a square, those numbers are the same. So x and x, it's the same number. So what number, when you times it by itself, gives you 121? Well, that's exactly what we were doing in the last examples. We're basically finding the square root of 121. What number, when you square it, gives you 121? And since 121 is a perfect square, we know that number is 11 times 11. So x equals 11 and x equals 11. 11 times 11 is what gave us that 121. So we're using the square root. And because we have a square garden and we're wanting to put a fence all the way around our square garden, we need to know all the sides, and we know because it's a square, it's 11 plus 11 plus 11 plus 11, which is 44. So we have 44 yards of fencing that we need. We also know that each yard of fencing costs $5. So if I need 44 yards of fencing at $5 per yard, then we can multiply those numbers together to get $220, and that's how much money it would cost us to fence in our garden. But the first thing we had to do is we actually had to use square roots in order to find out exactly how long each side of my garden was, and that's why they call it a square root, because it's the side length of a square.